Hey guys, we are live and today we're going to be doing some OC testing. Now I've gone ahead and done a couple of tests on my own to see what type of yield we're going to get from these two cards, but you have to keep in mind that overclocking in SLI is a lot different than overclocking with one card, because not only are you trying to figure out how much overclocking room you have on the one card, you have to check with both of them. And because different games utilize the cards differently, it's kind of hard sometimes to test that. You need a game that heavily utilizes SLI to make sure things are stable and that you're able to run games without crashing. So kind of what I've set up so far is we're going to still be using my custom aggressive fan profile, so we're not going to get anywhere near the heat limit even with the overclock, so that's not going to be much of a concern. We're going to see what type of benefits we get in a couple games, and we're going to then crank it up until it crashes. So this could be a few videos stapled together, but let's see what happens. So I've gotten a stable OC now. This profile is going to be no overclock, and then I've gotten a stable OC at 200 on the core and 200 on the memory without any issue at all so far. So we're going to take a look at those two. So we're going to start with the no overclock, and we're going to use Tomb Raider's built-in benchmarking tools to see kind of how we do, and then maybe we'll check the Division, even though that game is terribly optimized and probably not good for any type of testing like this. We're also going to do a Heaven benchmark as well. So you know, maybe let's start with the Heaven benchmark first. We're going to be running it at the system's resolution, 8 times anti-aliasing, extreme tessellation, ultra graphics quality, and DX11, and at full screen. So this is with no overclock. We're going to see kind of the numbers we get, and then we'll be able to compare that to once we add in the overclock from there. So without further ado, let's run Heaven, DX11 benchmark. I had this running for a couple hours yesterday on 200 and 200, and I didn't run into any crashes per se, but you know, that doesn't mean it's not gonna crash this time. So we're gonna actually go right into the benchmark, and you're seeing we're pulling in with no overclock. It looks like 61, 60, 61. It's chugging along through this. I like this benchmark because it's free. And you could pay for more advanced benchmarking tools and whatnot, but you know, this one pushes it, and it's fairly good, and you can see the temperatures on the screen and everything. It's pretty detailed. It looks decent at this ultra resolution, so it's gonna push it a little bit. It uses both GPUs and SLI pretty well, so there is that, and it's not like a super long benchmark, so we'll be able to get through it in a couple minutes. Yeah, so I'm hoping ultimately to get higher than the 200 stable that I have, but you know, in SLI you don't know. When I tried 300 when I tried 300, I couldn't even run this benchmark, so that's a dead giveaway. I need a stable overclock. It's not worth it for me to overclock if I'm not going to have the stability, because you know, I do streaming and video recording, and to have to do the videos over and over again is like, it's a little brutal. It's kind of a pain. So like, you want to make sure that you get a stable OC if you're going to use it, because I mean, with the GTX 1080 and SLI, you're gonna get high clocks anyway. I was the games that I was hoping to maybe get closer to 60 were the Division, but other than that, we were pretty high in a lot of them, so it's pretty cool. So this benchmark doesn't take too long to run through the whole thing. It's a pretty demanding benchmark, but not like terrible. So we're seeing temps getting close to 70 on the I think that's the second GTX 1080, so that should rev up the fans a little bit. I'm gonna listen. And even at the high fan rate, I really can't hear anything. My case isn't super close to me, and I use surround sound headphones, so it's not a huge difference. But to me with the sound, but you know, it's still, there are people around, and I don't want it to be like blaringly loud all the time. So So hopefully this benchmark finishes in a couple seconds and we can jump into the second one. But yeah, you're getting an idea of how it's running here. I mean, looks like 70s is probably going to be the average. We'll see what rating we get overall. It is a pretty benchmark to watch. Maybe a little bit on the dated side compared to some of the other ones, but again, it is free. So, you know, if you don't want to spend money on any of the newer benchmarks, then this might be a nice choice to use. We're getting close to the end here, but our minimum frame is 29.7, and our high is 100. That's pretty good. So we'll see how let this finish running its course. As we zoom back into this first scene area, a couple more shadows. I know that there are people out there who want this to want a game that is within this type of scenario, but I guess Skies of Arcadia on Dreamcast or GameCube you could put it. They're kind of like this. Maybe not as pretty. I'm also going to try to test today some additional games that I haven't put videos up on yet. I'd like to get a Doom video up, but you know, I think that's the end of the benchmark. Is it? Soon? Maybe after the sunrise? Okay, so we finished with the benchmark, and we have our numbers down. So we're looking at 76.9 frames per second, a score of 1937, minimum frame of 29.7, and a max frame of 103.6. Now, I'm going to quickly take these numbers down so we can compare to it with the overclocking on and the overclocking off. So 76.9, 197, 29.7, and 103.6. So this is with no overclocking whatsoever, only the custom profile. So we're going to quit out of this. And now we are going to put on the OC and see if that runs through smooth. And again, I tested it yesterday and it seemed pretty good, but let's make sure this doesn't change too much. Also, let's look first at the charts just so you can see. Our max heat's going to be around 71, so that's well under the max of 82 and 84. GPU usage is mostly high. I've seen these benchmarks run a few times, so those dips seem to be pretty normal for at least the GPUs I've tested. The memory usage is low, and the core clock, except for a slight dip, looks like it's flat. Memory clock flat. Everything's pretty much what you'd expect, and it's actually similar for the other GPU, other than the temperatures are going to be a little bit lower. So there you go. So now we have the 200 overclock, and the fan's at 61% right now. And I can't hear it at all. They're both at 61, so it's two fans at 61. So let's try this with the overclock now and see what we get. And again, I'll be trying these overclocks with live games as well, just because I want to see, make sure A, they're stable, and B, that I want to see exactly how many frames we can gain in a game versus in here. I mean, it's nice to gain frames here, but ultimately this is not, the ultimate goal is to have better gaming experience live. So we're shooting to beat 76.9 and a 1937 overclock. The minimum and max, while it matters a little bit, it's going to be hard to tell if that really makes any difference. The fans might go up a little louder. I hope the core clock goes up, but so we'll see. So 200 would be, if this is the max I can go, it would be a little bit disappointing. I don't know if we reach the power limit or what, or maybe a driver limit. I have had, over the course of using these SLI cards, I have had a couple of DX crashes. So so that's, that's kind of annoying. But I'm hoping that they're going to get the drivers a little more worked out. NVIDIA usually has even their initial drivers are usually fairly stable. I mean, I could uninstall the drivers altogether, but I don't know if that's something I'm going to be wanting to do because I really haven't had any game crashes other than VXAO and Tomb Raider, which crashes it every time. So I'm not sure I really want to reinstall the drivers, but we'll have to see. I mean, it's the cards have been really good so far, and the Titan X's in SLI that I had, they were under an AO water cooler, so like I'm not used to having the fans as much as I did before. And I remember my experiences with I had 3 GTX 780 Ti's, and they didn't have the exhausting fans, they had the intake, and I could not, no matter what I did, I could not get them cool enough to not throttle it down. So, I mean, this is a much better experience already. Again, I am using exhausting fans. That's one of the reasons I got the Founders Edition, because I plan on overclocking them myself, and I was pretty sure that heat was not going to be an issue once I edited the fan profiles. So, I've actually liked the experience has been good so far. I don't know if I'm gonna, get a custom water kit and put these under. I don't know if there's a point. I do plan on getting the 1080 Ti's when they do come out. They will come out, or Titan X2 or whatever it's going to be called. I plan on getting that when they come out. So these will be sold. It's a lot easier to sell and ship the GPUs without the water cooler on them, and to take back off the water cooler and put the original shroud back on. It's also a pain. Because I just sold my Titan X's, each of them with water cooling, and it was just it's really just a pain to find boxes and to wrap them up. I got them both out successfully, so that's good. But I really don't foresee myself putting water on these ones. Now, if the 1080 Ti's or Titan X2s come out and it looks like it's going to be a long one with them, like maybe close to a year. I doubt that I would last a year with one GPU, but if it looks like it might be about a year with it, there's a chance that I would actually put them underwater again, or maybe build a custom water loop this time. The last couple times I've been doing the all-in-one water coolers, to me, the benefits you gain from like building your own custom water loop is not enough, especially when you can get the very cheaply you can get these closed water coolers and get similar performance. And my CPU always stays really cold with the 240mm radiator. The H105 is the one that I have. So hopefully we look like we maybe gained a couple frames here in the test. I mean, I'm looking for stability and hopefully some. Okay, so now we got the numbers now. So we went from 76.9 to 80.6. So we gained about 4 frames, a little bit less than 4 frames, and the score, whatever, 2030 is a nice score. And our minimum has gone to 31.2, so it's nice to get above the 30 mark for the minimum, but I mean, it was there for like literally a second. And the maximum actually went down. And obviously there's some variance time to time with these tests, but yeah, so that's what we got. So that's pretty good. I would like to crank it up a little bit more. I want to try 250, but I'm not going to do it for the first time on the video, because it's going to cause a little bit of an issue probably. But I will actually I'm going to leave everything at 200 now. For now, for a couple days, see how it runs, and I'll put up another OC video if I'm able to get even more aggressive with these. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I got for OCing today. I'm going to be putting up some videos of Doom, Rise of Tomb Raider, Star Wars, Rainbow Six. I'm going to be putting up a bunch of videos of with this profile. See if I get any crashes. Again, you can see the heat that never got even close. We got, I think, an extra degree higher, and everything seems pretty stable. So yeah, so we're 200 plus. We're gonna work with this for a couple days and see how it goes, and then we'll test from there. We'll see what type of benefits we can get. All right, follow, like, subscribe. Let us know what games you want us to OC or what frequencies you want us to overclock at. Athenic out.